Hey, Fae folk, welcome back. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Bratz and Hello Kitty collab. And I literally in my last video explained why I hadn't talked about it, and I didn't intend to make this video, but we have new things that have kind of developed, and now I just have so many more thoughts, so now I have to talk about it. I honestly was going to make an initial video when like the first little bit of drama was going down, and we will like cover that very quickly in this video just in case you might not have heard of it. Um but I was going to make like a dedicated video, and I just had so much other stuff going on. I was like working for future videos, and I also was still filming videos, and some of those felt sort of time sensitive and some of them were time sensitive. And I had stuff going on in my real life, and I had health issues going on. Like I was not in a spot where I could make that video, especially because it is sort of a serious topic, and so I would want to do it justice. So I ended up just not making a Bratz and Hello Kitty collab video. Tons of other people did and covered basically everything I would want to say anyway, so I was content to let it lie. But as I said, the situation has developed, and I think in some ways it's really good, but in some ways it's still really not. So we're going to dive on in and discuss all of those good and bad things today. Of course, when it comes to like aesthetic opinions, if you guys disagree with me in the comments down below, totally chill, not a big deal, just do be nice about it. However, we are going to be discussing an issue of like racism today. And if you are someone who just genuinely believes that there is no racism involved in this is not the video for you. Like, I frankly don't want to have anybody in my comments trying to argue that like race was not a factor in this, because it absolutely was, at least to a degree of it should have been paid attention to and they weren't paying attention to it. That will make more sense later. But point is if you're coming in here being like, it doesn't matter, like the fact that it was Sasha that got excluded isn't a big deal, like her being black has nothing to do with it, just don't do it today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the original drama, and then we can get into what is happening now. So the initial Bratz Hello Kitty release. You probably have seen these dolls somewhere on the internet at this point. If you've been into a Target toy aisle lately, you've probably seen these dolls. I'm going to show them to you and just give you kind of my opinions on them, because that's what we do here. This part is going to be a lot quicker because this is by far not the most important part of the video. But the initial release included Yasmin, Jade, and Chloe. So taking a look at Yasmin here, she's fine. I don't think she's an ugly doll. I do think she's my favorite out of the original three, but like, I just don't feel super drawn to her. I think the jeans are pretty cute and the Hello Kitty bag is nice, but everything else is sort of just there. Jade, I do like her skirt. I like the concept of the 3D elements on the sweater. I just don't know if I'm like 100% there. I used to be like a really big Hello Kitty fan, and while I still think Hello Kitty stuff can be very cute, plastering Hello Kitty on something isn't enough for me to want it anymore. You know what I'm saying? No judgment if that's how you are. Like, if you love Hello Kitty, that's fabulous. Just for me, it's kind of like, she's cute, but I don't absolutely have to have it. And then when it comes to Chloe, she was definitely my least favorite from the initial lineup. Like, I'm not obsessed with the clothes. And also, like, the lack of painted detail on both the bag and the shoes, I think is pretty rough. None of the dolls, none of these three, have painted details on their shoes, but at least the other two have some detail on their bags. So, like, Chloe just feels a little more empty to me, I guess is the best way to put it. But obviously, notably, the important part is that Sasha was excluded from this group. Now, there are like theories as to why this is. I'm going to say with my full chest, this is a theory, this is alleged, this is not anything confirmed or real. I personally believe, because Hello Kitty is owned by Sanrio, and Sanrio has, a whole host of other characters, some of which are deeply, genuinely racist, very clearly racist. So I personally think that with MGA and Sanrio collabing, I think Sanrio said, we don't want to make the black doll. That is alleged, that is not confirmed, and in fact, I think MGA and Bratz made a statement that it was like a mutual thing, or like it was just like one of those classic PR statements that's like, no guys, we didn't mean for it to look this way. But the entire point is they released 3 out of the 4 main group of dolls with this collab, and they did not include Sasha, the black doll. Now, the reason that I think this is notable is because I think it's one thing if you have a smaller collab, said this in my last video, but I'm, just repeating it because it is relevant, obviously. if you have a smaller collab, I'm thinking, you know, like Cult Gyla, oh my God, the Cult Gaia Bratz collab, the Moalola collab. I think those are very normal things where it's like, okay, well, you're only doing 2 dolls. Of course, you can't do the main 4 characters. And as long as you're switching up which character gets included in those releases, I think it's perfectly fine to only have certain characters. You know, with Cult Gaia, it was Chloe and Yasmin. And then with Moalola, they kind of threw a little bit of a curveball and didn't use a main line, like main 4 Bratz character, but they ended up doing Felicia and Jade. So I think that that's fabulous. We also saw Sasha get a Jean Paul Gaultier doll recently. So like those are smaller collabs where they're very clearly representing all of the different characters. It's just across different collaborations because there's only 1 or 2 dolls per collab. I think there's nothing wrong with that. However, when you get into the realm of we're going to make 3 characters, you have to just do 4, because when you have a like main group of 4 characters and you say we're only going to do 3 of these, it is always going to look very intentional which one you leave out. I even think that there is an argument that could be made that if they did like this Hello Kitty collab and they just used secondary characters, like obviously I think this was racially motivated. So I don't think they would have done Felicia, but if they had done like Felicia, Never, and Roxy, it wouldn't look weird either because none of them are part of the core 4. But they did the core 4, except they boiled it down to the core 3. And I just think that if you're going to do that, it again is always going to look strange. And if you specifically exclude the black doll, it's going to look worse. It just is. That's just how it is going to be, especially in today's climate, and especially because of Sanrio's history of being not so great when it comes to their beliefs, perhaps their alleged beliefs about people who aren't super pale. So I'm laughing because it's like so ridiculous that I have to laugh. Just to be super clear, I know a lot of y'all are like that too, but just in case someone sees this video who's not like that, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's not. It's one of those just like, I can't believe this is the world we live in and I have to laugh so I don't cry. So Bratz got an enormous amount of backlash for this, rightfully, as they should. The Bratz fandom stood up and said, what the fuck are you doing? Where's our girl Sasha? We deserve Sasha. And my personal opinion is it seems like Bratz was sort of scrambling. You know, they were like freaking out a little bit because I don't think that they expected this backlash, which is like no one on the team thought this was going to be a problem. Whatever. We're taking a deep breath. We got to rein it in. There's so much more to get through. Like I have to be chill about this. So with that, they were like, guys, okay, we're going to make her. They definitely tried to make it sound like, oh, she was totally always planned from the start. Like, she's just arriving late. She's fashionably late. I think that they just caved and were like, shit, we have to make this doll now because people are pissed about this release, not including Sasha. That's my personal theory. We're just going to leave it at that. So now we have seen images for what Sasha is going to look like. The picture that I'm going to show you is a prototype doll. This is like not a final situation, but it's pretty darn close to what you're going to end up getting. So first thing that I want to go over is just like how Sasha looks, because she looks fabulous, which to me just makes it like even more horrifically, like funnily disgusting that they didn't include her to begin with, because it's just like your racism got in the way of you making the best doll out of this line. Like she is so, to me, leagues better than every other doll in this collaboration. Like it's not even funny how much better she is. She's so cute. The red streaks in her hair, the curls and the pigtails, I think look really excellent. She has a fuzzy Hello Kitty sweater and a super cute plaid skirt. She's got like little leg warmers, and I mean, I guess it looks like maybe 2 layers of leg warmers. They might be connected. I don't know for sure. But she's got cute little leg warmers. And I think these are like Tubi shoes. I think that's what they're called. Typically speaking, they're not my favorite, but listen, Bratz just has a way of pulling shit off that I normally don't think can be pulled off. And Sasha is pulling these off. She's so pretty. It's not even funny. Like she just looks so much better than the other ones that it is just so crazy to me looking at this doll that they didn't want to include Sasha because she's so good. So up through now, this might seem like, okay, Bratz definitely fucked up not including her to begin with. That was sort of messed up. Because I do want to say, like, even if my theory is true and Sanrio was the one who said, hey, we're not doing Sasha, it is messed up of MGA to agree to that collab. Like, I'm trying to think of like, okay, Rainbow High. If Rainbow High were to be like, hey, Rain, we want to send you a PR package. I don't think they would do this, by the way. This is just like a random scenario off the top of my head. If they were like, hey, we want to send you a PR package, we're going to send you all of these white dolls, but like the black doll, we don't really think is important. I fully recognize that Jade and Yasmin aren't white. I'm just, again, it's a little scenario. It's just an example. I would be like, send me the black doll too, or just don't bother. And then if they still sent me the dolls, I would make a video talking about it and talking about how fucked up that is. So the fact that if I'm correct, if my theory is right, and Sanrio was like, no, we're not letting you make Sasha with our Hello Kitty on there, ew. MGA still agreeing to do the collab is not okay. Like, regardless of whether it was their fault, quote unquote, it is not okay for them to have gone through with that. Sorry. So it still might look like at least they fixed their mistake, right? Like at least they came in and did it. Personally, it still kind of has a gross tinge to it because it doesn't feel genuine. If you think this is genuine, that is fabulous. I love that for you. I don't really know. I don't really know about that one. I don't think that this feels like something that they genuinely felt bad about. I don't think this feels like something that truly was on the table. I think this was yeah, we can do the Hello Kitty collab. It's Bratz and Hello Kitty. Those are two huge brands. We're going to make tons of money off of this. You guys don't want to include Sasha? Whatever. We'll just do the other ones. Oh shit, people are mad. I genuinely think that's how it went. That's a theory. But that's what I believe. So for me, even just looking at the stall, it's like, I'm so glad she's going to exist, but it's always going to have that sort of weight to it. And then when you dive deeper into the details, I think things start to get weird. Because as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you walk into Target in America, most likely you're going to see the Bratz and Hello Kitty collab dolls. Like, I think that they've been, popping up on shelves long enough to where pretty much every Target, if they're not sold out, should have that. They should at least have like a space for it. As of right now, we don't have any information on Sasha ever coming to any stores, and I don't really think she's going to after reading the description on the Bratz website, because she is currently available for pre-order on the Bratz.com website for $34.99 US dollars, estimated to ship in late June of 2026, which it is a long time. It's a pre-order. They very obviously have not made this doll. Like, they very clearly have to do the entire production process for this doll. So I'm not surprised. Like, when they announced that they were going to be doing a Sasha doll, I knew it wasn't going to come up like right away, because I knew they didn't have that shit waiting already. Like, this is something they had to go to the drawing board very quickly and be like, whip something up. So I'm not really surprised with that. I understand why people are frustrated with it, because it does suck. But I sort of expected that. I was like, whenever this doll comes out, she's going to come out in the far future. I didn't necessarily expect a pre-order. I sort of thought that just next year we'd end up seeing her on shelves. But this is how they're handling it. So she's a pre-order, Bratz.com only, and she's only available from the 12th of November at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time through the 27th of November at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is not an open pre-order. This is not you can pre-order her up until she comes out and then you can just order her regular. There's a closed pre-order window. And that's what makes me think that she's not going to hit shelves, because in my mind, if she was going to hit shelves, they would just make a ton of these and then fulfill the pre-orders and then keep having regular orders come through. That to me is just very suspicious, because I've never actually ordered directly from Bratz.com, but I think about the Mattel Creations orders that I've had, and anytime there's ever been a limited window, it's a limited doll. The Fang Vote dolls are immediately what comes to mind for me. Earlier this year with Fang Vote Caddy, there was a week where it was hey, if you're going to want this doll is made to order. You have to order her within this week, and that's it. After that, she's marked as sold out on the website. We're not going to sell her after that. There's no way to get, at this point, Fang Vote Caddy outside of buying her secondhand once she widely ships, because some people have gotten her, some people haven't gotten her. I haven't gotten her. But that's the sort of thing that this makes me think of. This is a very limited, hey, you've got a couple of weeks that you can decide that you want to buy this doll. And after that, there's a cutoff point. So to me, it feels like she's not going to be available after that. It kind of feels like she's not going to come to store shelves. She's not going to be a mainstay on Bratz.com even. This is you have a very limited window. So I think that's strange and suspicious. Another just interesting thing is that it does say that this pre-order is non-refundable, which in all fairness, I don't really usually read like a lot of the description on like the pre-orders that I've done. So I don't know if that's standard, again, especially since I've never ordered from Bratz.com. That might just be how they handle things. But it does just feel ominous with it being so far out, if that makes sense. To be like, hey, we need you to give us money for this, but also you're not going to get her for a while and you can't get that money back. Like there's no refunds on the I don't know. Something about it is like a little bit strange to me. Maybe that's just me. Y'all can let me know in the comments if that's like a very, very normal practice. However, the other weird thing when you keep reading is that she is $35, as I said, which I think is the price of all of the dolls on the collab because it's a collab and licensing and blah, 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 blah. Which is already, I think, personally too much for a doll that, just is there with one outfit and no accessories. That's across the board. That's not a dig at Sasha. That's just, I think this entire collab is a little pricey for me personally. But in addition to that, because she's only available on Bratz.com, you have to pay for shipping. And you might think, oh, well, they probably have a free shipping option. Yes, if you spend $50 or more. Which then you might be like, okay, yeah, there's something else from Bratz I want. It's fine. Like if I can get Sasha, maybe I'll get one of the other Hello Kitty dolls. Because I know a lot of people were like, I'm not going to buy any of the Hello Kitty dolls because it's f***ed up that they didn't include Sasha. But you can't do that either because it says in the description that the pre-ordered item can't be in the same order as a non-pre-order item. You would have to do like multiples of Sasha in order to get the free shipping. Like you can't buy, say, Sasha and Jade and get Jade now and have Sasha arrive later and like get free shipping with that. You have to only order pre-order items to be able to have it qualify for the free shipping because they're going to count it as separate orders if you do it one item that's in stock and one item that's a pre-order. So that means that like depending on where you live and like how much the shipping is, this doll is at minimum like a $45 doll if you're like within the US. Obviously outside of the US, things only get more expensive. Although as of time of filming, I don't believe that other countries are able to order this doll. I don't know if that's going to change. As of right now, that's sort of where we're at. I don't think anyone from any other countries has been able to see this, which is also an enormous issue. Like I keep getting sidetracked because there's just so many things with this release that just scream absolutely strange to me, just very odd. But to go back to the price, sorry, like a $45 doll minimum because I'm like estimating $10 for shipping. So you excluded Sasha, then you weirdly made her the best doll, but you made her the best doll with a limited pre-order like window with no information about whether she's going to be available in stores. Like again, as of time of filming, anything that Bratz is commenting on Instagram has nothing to do with, is it going to be in stores? Like they're just ignoring that question altogether, which I'm not surprised, but it is extremely frustrating. And then because she's a pre-order, you're not going to be able to offer free shipping. So you're going to make sure that this doll that is $35 US is actually going to cost at minimum $45 US. So they've taken their, I guess we'll call it a racial insensitivity. They've taken their racial insensitivity and been like, fine, we'll make the doll, but we're going to make her more exclusive, more expensive, technically speaking, after all of the bits and bobs are added together. And we're going to make her limited. And we're going to make her late. And we're going to make her a year later, which again makes sense. But it's just like when you add all these things together, it starts to look a little bit ridiculous. Like it just starts to look a little bit gross to me. I think that if you wanted this to feel in any way sort of genuine, like if you wanted this to seem like a real, hey, we didn't realize how bad it would look to not include Sasha, that's on us. We are sorry. What you would do is set the doll up for pre-order. Yes, it probably would still have to be in 2026. It is what it is. Personally, I think they should just say that Sasha ships free. I think that should be the compensation for the fact that they screwed up and didn't include her to begin with. And I think she should absolutely be in stores the second that she can be. And I think they should be very loud and very vocal about that. That's my personal opinion. And she should be available to international fans. What the f*** are we doing here? This is... Sorry. Sorry about that. Like, nothing would be better than if Sasha had been included to begin with, right? But if they really truly had made a mistake and wanted to fix it, I think that's the only way they could have gone about doing it, is like, hey, we're going to make the doll. We messed up. We're sorry. We're actually going to make it like in some ways easier. Like we're going to make you not have to pay shipping at all. We're going to like have it widely available. You know, that's literally the least that they could do to make this feel real. Like they genuinely had some regret for not including Sasha. Whereas now it sort of feels like they're just taking their quote unquote accidental racism of not including her and then using it to make even more money, because there's like this FOMO factor with the pre-order being a limited pre-order window, especially when they're not saying if it's going to be available in stores. Like she might turn out to be available in stores. I don't think that we're going to hear that if that's the case until the pre-orders have gone through, because then you can't refund the pre-orders and wait for her to be in stores and they'll have gotten the shipping money from you too. That's what I think is happening. Like, I really genuinely think that they are using this as an opportunity to take the backlash and turn it into an even bigger cash grab. And that is what is bothering me the most. So I'm so happy that Sasha is getting a doll. She, again, to me is the absolute best. And frankly, I want to buy her, except I don't have any fucking money right now because there have been so many other releases. The last couple of months have been insane in terms of doll releases, and I can't do the pre-order. So if she comes out in stores, I will absolutely be buying her. Only her. Like, I like her. I like her the most. She's really honestly the only one that I feel strongly about her design, but I also think it sort of is like, yeah, I'm only buying Sasha. What are you doing trying to make a collab without her? But I don't know if I'm going to have that opportunity because I can't do the pre-order. But even without me like having a guarantee of owning the doll, I'm very, very glad that she exists. You know, like I'm really happy that that's at least a thing that we have, that she has at least been included now. I just think that the circumstances surrounding it really don't do Sasha justice, really don't do the community justice, and really don't show any genuine, sincere sort of apology or regret over how racist everything they did either seemed or was. Because again, you know, they're alleging that it was just like this thing. I don't know. It feels a little more intentional to me. But those are basically my thoughts. So yeah, happy she's here, but like do not get good vibes whatsoever from how this release is being handled. So with those opinions out of the way, I would love to know how you all are feeling about this. I'm sure a lot of you are like I am, where you're like super excited that she's getting a doll at least. Like that is at least something. But do you agree that this seems like fishy? That it just seems quite weird and almost like a marketing ploy? Like it just feels so surreal and so capitalistic and so nasty to me. So I'm very curious to see if any of you are feeling that way or if you're just happy. And if you're just happy, that's great. I hope that I didn't ruin this for you. Like you're obviously still allowed to feel joy about her being included. Please don't like think that you shouldn't feel that way. I'm just kind of analytical and critical, and yeah, I think that this is a weird one. So let me know how you're feeling, but that's going to be it from me for today, y'all. This one was a little more serious. So as always, I don't really know if enjoy was the right word, but I hope this was thought-provoking for you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night, or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.